All right, team, C165. So you've got 10 exercises and you have 3 active recoveries. So not a lot of active recoveries, 7 anaerobic and 3 active recoveries. 4 rounds. Now each round changes time. You start at 45, then you go to 35, then you go to 25 and 10. However, the 25 and 10 only have 10 seconds of rest, where the 45 and 35 have 15 seconds of rest in between each exercise. So the whole point of that is designed to get the heart rate going that first round the hardest. Then they keep increasing the intensity every round after that because the work time is going down. Pretty straightforward. Again, 10 exercises, 4 rounds. There is C165. Slam ball toe touch. So the slam ball toe touch, first of all, the reason that we use the slam ball is because when you're tapping this ball like this, notice it's still staying in the same spot. It doesn't really move that much. If I did that with a medicine ball, it'd be all over the room. So in particular, that's why we use the slam ball. However, there's different levels of this. One is just a nice slow walk. So pretty much anybody can do this. Obviously, if you want more, you start going faster. You want more, you start adding that hop. And really, you can make this as hard as you want. You can also add a dimension where you're starting to move laterally. So this works on coordination as well as getting that heart rate up. But there's a lot of different variations, but it all comes down to the intensity that you use. For a beginner, try to minimize the amount of effort and minimize the impact as well. And there's the slam ball toe touch. All right, team, explosive step-ups. So here, explosive step-ups. For a beginner, they're not even going to use one of these steps. They're going to use, or these boxes. They're going to use a step with no risers. For some people, that's more than enough. However, for the average person, the step up is going to be as simple as walking on and walking off. Key here, keep the chest up. So don't let that chest come down. What that tells you is that this is too high and they don't have the strength to be able to keep the chest up as they come up that exercise. Now, want a little bit more? You simply speed it up. You want more? Then you add that height in there. But no matter what, you're going to slow yourself down so that you don't have that impact coming down back on that back leg. You do not want impact on that back leg, and I encourage everybody to use the smaller boxes. Now, for people that are taller, maybe 6 foot tall or taller, the bigger boxes are okay. But the biggest thing about the bigger boxes is notice the angle. I'm not at 90 degrees anymore. I'm at an angle like this. That puts a lot of stress and strain on the knee. First. Second, I come up, and as I come down, I land too hard. So unless people can actually slow themselves down by doing this, they need to be on the lower box. And if they go too slow, their heart rate's not going to get up. So the lower box is actually a better option. Less impact, and you can make it just as intense. Again, for taller people, the bigger box will work, and it works safely. And for beginners, get them a step. No riser, 1 riser, 2 risers, and then eventually work them up to the box. But start them very low and just slow. Cadence. This is a lot easier than this. Okay, so just start them at the slow speed, low step. But there is explosive step-ups. It's a plank reach. So all we're doing, again, what you're going to demonstrate is on the knees, because most people, this is a little bit too challenging. The further this ball is in, the easier it is. The further the ball goes out, the harder it is. So what you want to do, try to reach out as far as you can to engage that core. Now, if you can, come up on your toes. Again, the farther you go, the harder this is. So if this is all you can do on your toes, much better, right? Again, further you go, harder this is. If they can't even do it on the ball, which most people can, then they can simply do a plank, or they can do an elevated plank. If they have, what I mean by an elevated plank, when those benches are set up, they can come over to the benches or over to the dumbbells, and they can simply do a plank here. They're still going to be working their abdominal muscles and their core muscles. Not many people need to do that, but if they can't get down on their knees, that's always an option. That's mostly for people that can't get down on their knees. Next, all right, team, slam ball burpee. So on the slam ball burpee, just like with the slam ball, you're going to follow it down with your hips and your hands. Then you're going to come down to the ground, walk back, walk up. With any burpee, feet come wide, hips are back, and knees are back, and chest is up. We don't want this. This is a common thing because we say chest up. So what do? That puts a lot of stress on the knee joints. You don't need any more stress on the knee joints. So for people that can't do it, have them just do slam ball or use the medicine ball. For somebody who's brand new, just have them do medicine ball. If they're excessively overweight and they don't have the motion, they can't get on and off the floor, have them do a medicine ball slam. So use a small medicine ball and have them do the medicine ball slam where they're just doing this. That is more than adequate. Okay. However, for the slam ball, again, we can walk back, walk up, or you can come down. Then you jump back, jump up wide. Once again, lift it up. If you need more, come down, jump back, jump up. You can have that hop in there. Or the most advanced is going to be staying on the slam ball, because this is going to have a balance. So you got to balance yourself, especially if you bring your feet back narrow. You're going to really balance yourself. Then come back wide, then come up. So speed that up, add the hop in there, and that's going to be the most advanced version of the slam ball slam. Again, for brand new people that don't have the hip mobility, you're probably better off doing a medicine ball slam so that they can limit that range, keep the tempo up, or they can do a burpee from a box, elevated. They don't have to do the slam ball part of that. Their team is the slam ball burpee. Size is going to be the rubber band high knees. This is going to add a challenge to our normal high knees exercise. First, come out. Don't come too far out because it's going to start pulling you back. You want to get used to that rubber band. You can start by simply doing high knees. If you want to add a little bit more, we go faster. You want more, you come further out and you go faster. Now it's going to try to pull you back, and you're having to keep that force to keep yourself out there. So that adds a much more dynamic and challenging aspect to the high knees. Next, you're going to have the wheel rollout or the wheel hold. So what you're going to demonstrate, knees against this platform. This particular exercise puts a lot of stress on the lower back if you do not have a strong core, in particular strong abdominals. So you always start them in this position. They come out and back. This is the wheel roll, okay? Now, the key here is we're not doing this. This is not working our core at all, hardly, okay? We're stabilizing ourselves with the roller. This is actually working your core. You will start to feel your core working in here. And you don't have to go full range of motion. Just limit the range of motion to make it easier. Want to make it more challenging? Just take those knees back. The further back you go with the knees, the more challenging this gets. Now, the most challenging, the highest version of this, is going to be a hold. You're going to hold it here for 30 seconds. That is hard. Holding it on the step is harder than holding it down here, because a lot of my weight is now being supported by my quads. When I'm up here, I'm elevated to where everything's on my knees. So it actually is harder to hold this on the step. Whereas we always try to make it easier by putting them on the step, but in that situation where they're holding it out, it actually is harder to do it on the step. But again, I have to remind you that you do not want to put somebody with lower back problems, or if they have a hernia, or they feel like they have a hernia, or there's a pain, discomfort when they do something like that, have them do crunches. So the very beginning of this is for somebody who has abdominal issues, put them in a crunch. Do not have them do that. That is a very advanced move, even for the beginners. All right, next climber. It's going to be a mountain climber. What you're going to do, and you want to make sure that you get the full advantage of the mountain climber. So when you do a mountain climber, always try to stretch those calves out by putting the heel all the way down during the mountain climber. So most people are going to have their butts up a little bit because they don't have enough range of motion in their calves or flexibility. But when you're doing a regular mountain climber, you'll notice you're going to keep that. What people do is they keep the heel off the ground. They're really engaging that calf. We want to stretch that calf out. So use this as an active stretch here, and get the heart rate going and warm up your shoulders and your chest. That's exercise one. Now, next, it's going to be the Bosu burpee. So, Bosu burpee, everybody knows how to do burpee. Come back narrow, up wide, and for the beginner, this is all they need to do. Okay, and if that's too low for them, they can do it on the rack here, they can simply come over here, come out, up wide. Okay, so they've got options here. Just make sure that that rack is stable and the weights aren't in a position where they're going to fall off. Now, for most people, it's going to be they come back wide or narrow, come up wide, and then they do a regular burpee. Okay, now, again, if they're slowing down too much, because this is our next option right here, but if that slows them down to the point where they're doing something like this, then just have them do a regular burpee. You know, you need to have the hop. The hop is going to be one of the more advanced options there. But ultimately, for the advance, it's going to be just like this, okay? You're just adding more body parts to it. Next is going to be the Russian medicine ball twist. Don't have to go heavy. I'd rather see you lighter weight, better range of motion. Key here, and again, you can always do a crunch or a plank or anything else if this bothers them. Key is my shoulder. My shoulder comes across. Notice my shoulder should be in between my legs each time I do this. That engages more of the core. You need a little bit more, pull those feet off the ground. Need a little bit more, add a little bit more load. But again, I would rather see the range of motion before I see the load. That's an active recovery. Last, jump squat. So the jump squat, the key is to keep the chest up. Don't let the chest fall down. Now, for most people, it's not a jump. You're not going to have the average member do a jump. Too much impact, not good. So for the average member, it's simply coming down and coming up. Now, the key here is ideally you want as much motion in their hands as you can get, because once you involve more body parts, it drives the heart rate up. So if they can do this, wonderful. For a beginner, it's as simply as just getting kind of a pulse, just like that. Now, for a little bit more, they just add the hands in there. They want more, they go quicker. They want more, then they can add a hop or a jump in there. You really want more, add that hop. You really want more, then you add a jump tuck in there. Again, with or without the hands, you're going to get your heart rate up. A lot of people like to keep their arms to their side, or they hold them here, or whatever it might be, but that's okay. Any of those variations are fine. Just remember, when you add more body parts, you're going to drive your heart rate up even higher. So there is the jump squat.